When the war is over, Cold Chisel done a great version. John Farnham's done a great version. Jimmy Barnes was late to the version with him and John Farnham. And that was one of our first reactions. Definitely our first reaction to Jimmy Barnes at all, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was our introduction to Jimmy. We were still at the point where Greg was doing these from the car, and I didn't have anything but my phone that I was lining up audio from. It was a very complicated process. It seemed rather easy then because I didn't know the easier way. So, when the war is over, Jimmy Barnes, John Farnham, let's take two and redo. How does that sound, OGL?
That sounds great. I do definitely remember this part when we first discovered John Farnham. The Please Don't Ask Me, that was a great song. Discovering John was amazing. We've heard people talk about him on the Charismatic Voice Discord and such. And finally getting introduced to him. We did this for Kingdom Soups, was it?
I think.
Yeah.
Or either Anzac Day.
Yeah, I think this was I think we did this pre-Anzac Day, and Anzac was few reactions down the road. So I think this one was for when we did the first one. Please Don't Ask Me. That was for Soups. This one, when the war was over, definitely for Anzac Day. But yeah, I just remember like the Anzac Day just being this frenzy of activity where you were like working 48 hours straight. I was sitting in the car trying to film content, nodding off periodically as I want to do. We're trying to keep in contact with everybody because you were having some problems with things getting blocked and such. It was just a crazy time, but it was so much fun because yeah, that's where the Aussie Army came from. And looking back at these videos, how did you guys support us like you did? Because wow, these things are they look terrible. I'm sorry.
They're hard to watch. Even
I appreciate
what?
Yeah, I appreciate the concept behind them, and it was so much fun to do, and so much, especially for someone like me who like never thought I'd be doing something like this. So this was crazy, but yeah, I look back at that now and I'm like, oh my god, that is terrible.
Maybe that was synchronicity. I don't know if you'd have been ready just to jump in front of them, like together in front of
actual camera. Yeah,
like there's no one watching us now, but you know what I mean, like where you can't stop and fuck, that was a bad one. Just shit, this, you know. You know what I mean?
Agreed. It definitely did help ease me into it.
All right, so I have localized my country pride and got me a North Carolina hat because I live in North Carolina, which is in the South, and it's on the coast. And it's the other Carolina. And it's where Croatoan was written on a tree by Virginia Dare, the very first American pregnant bitch. Sorry. I mean, a bitch is a dog and he. So I do tend to say that when I'm talking about currency, what the world, when I'm talking about having children, which takes a lot of currency. So now that I'm done stepping all over my tongue, let's watch this. So I ask you, are we ready for some Jimmy and some John, or some John and some Jimmy, or some Jimmy Johns?
Jimmy and John go together like peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly for the ears.
Thank you very much. We're going to slow down a little bit with one of the classics of Australian rock and roll. This is a little different version of a Cold Chisel song. Ain't nobody gonna steal this heart away. Ain't nobody gonna steal this heart away. when the war is over, got to get away. Pack my bag to no place, and no time, no day. You and I, we used each other's shoulder. Still so young, but somehow so much older. How can I go home and not get blown away? Ain't nobody gonna steal this heart away. Ain't nobody gonna steal this heart away. When the war is over, got to start again. Try to hold or trace what it was back then. You and I said each other's stories. Just a bit, I'm lost in all its glory. How can I go home and not get blown away? You and I had our sights set on something. Hope this doesn't mean our days are numbered.
Just like Jimmy, where you at? Damn it, put the bottle away. Ain't nobody gonna sing this song today. Jimmy got drunk, must have fucking run away. I'm not making fun of the song. I know the song well. It's just it's great. This is a great idea. Go back and do some of these because we didn't know these guys, man. I mean, we were newbies.
Yeah, it was a period of discovery, which was thrilling.
And thank you to all the newer subs. Oh man, I don't know your name yet. I don't know many people's name. But you're brand new and you have been watching all the reactions. I appreciate that. Also, Jennifer, the other Jennifer who does the paintings, whom I inspired from Anzac Day reactions. Yeah, much love because this is one of the songs we did for Anzac Day. Station at dinner. All right, so laptop's down. I'm going to plug the damn cord in, get some juice like these guys are bringing, and yeah, we'll get back to it, Gregory.
So, both Jimmy and John. Jimmy hasn't shown up yet, but it's interesting how they're similar in that they're both like amazing vocalists who pour their heart and soul out to their vocal cords, and different in other ways. For instance, John here is a consummate pro, and he's trying to cover for Jimmy, who is probably having a couple more drinks and has not shown up for this his performance yet. We were we know about it now. It's become part of John's, our view of John, but his positive energy that he's able to put out. Like a song like When the War is Over, it could be very sullen or very sad. But John just infuses it with this light, this positive energy. That is not without some weight, like how he dug into Blown Away and put that grit in there. That was amazing. But this sort of represents the kind of, I guess, explosion of happiness that would occur, when a war is finally over, when you realize, okay, dang, I can live again. I can try to, recover some semblance of normalcy. I was watching something on the siege of Sarajevo and what it's like to live in a place that's under siege, and where war is raging in the streets, and how that it just affects every aspect of your life, and how death becomes commonplace. You see it every day to the point where you almost become numb to it. So for that curtain to be lifted, that boot to be lifted off, that's got to be like an amazing feeling. And John is showing that elation in his vocals. Um, and of course, like John always looks like he's just having the best time in the world. He's you know lost in the moment. This is this is his natural place. This is where John was at his best. And it's also kind of cool that a recent Celine Dion documentary has gotten John a bit more exposure here in the States. More people asking, hey, who's this John Farnham guy he's talking about? So,
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I'm going to coin that from now on. Anybody ask me what happy ending means? Explosion of happiness.
yep.
That was a great term, Greg. Loved it.
Thank you.
Let's back it up. I think right about there is where John's like, it's okay, man. I'm going to cover. I think that's what the hand signal's for.
Yes.
Where it kind of looks like he's just pointing somebody in the audience, but I've never seen him use sign language to the audience. Oh, those are like, oh, it's the gentleman that made the crazy trippy song back in the 60s from Oz. Russell Morris, maybe?
That sounds right, yeah. Russell Morris.
Yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about, yeah. John's like, man, I'm not going to blow my voice out like that, Jimmy. I have not had that many drinks. And ironically, Jimmy's still singing, and John had all kinds of throat problems. Jimmy did too. And the lady, I assume you're a lady, I'm sorry, that I've been chatting to the last few days, the who's been going through our discography. The fuck was the point, man? Oh, she said that there's an interview where Jimmy and his wife, I believe Jane, and a throat specialist are talking about how Jimmy has never heard his voice singing because he doesn't use his vocal cords. And before I say anything, I Googled it, and I still haven't talked to Elizabeth, but it's I think the vocal, I think they were talking the false folds,
Yes.
which is also part of your vocal cords. It's impossible to make sound without using your vocal cords. Mine are shredded out of pieces, but still, when I was not using mine, I couldn't talk. You have to use one of those, like people that can't talk, have the little thing that put in the throat, talks for them. That is when you have no vocal cords. So I think it was just a misunderstanding in communication about that, but I do want to research it. Also, there is a new tool reaction we have that is reflection, and I have already got into a debate over the, how do you say the D word, man, the Aboriginal horn.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo. So, I know that word is stuck out of my head because of one of the reactions we've done, and I called it I think I called it a horn like I just did, and I got jumped on. That is not a horn, that is a woodwind or something,
Woodwind, yeah.
which is a friggin' horn. But anyway, if you blow it makes damn noise, it's a horn to me. But because of that, I knew that word well. I watched a well put together documentary that I can't remember the exact one or reference, but the horn, the beginning of that song, is the didgeridoo, I think. And there is. Okay, so first of all, there's everyone simultaneously looking back like, finally, Jimmy, son of a bitch. Thank goodness, there he is. I love that. I just paused it at that time because I wanted to go back and hear Jimmy's part again. I honestly think Jimmy blows John away in this performance. Maybe it's because John didn't want to blow his vocal cords out. Maybe it's because it was Jimmy's song to begin with and John just being humble. And maybe it's because Jimmy was just a lot drunker than John. I'm not sure, but Jimmy kills this performance. And my favorite version of When the War is Over is the Cold at Chisel version where Ian is playing an authentic Australian-made guitar, and they're on like a circular stage, and Ian sings the whole first verse, and Jimmy and chorus, and Jimmy comes in midway through the second. I cried during that reaction. I cried during a lot, but it was just so nice to hear the song and kind of get the same vibes here, especially since, me and Greg did this one together. That one I did on my own while Greg was working. So, yeah, so the didgeridoo, man, the didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Doo-doo. Sorry, it's not doo-doo. Greg, did you listen to the little part of the Tool song?
Yeah.
Do you think that is a horn? Or first explain to him what the other gentleman thinks it is.
So it was also claimed that it was a sarangi. This is like a bowed instrument that is used in South Asian and Polynesian music. So stringed instruments and woodwinds can have different sounds. To me, what it sounds like in reflection is some kind of a woodwind. I'm not saying it's impossible that it's a stringed instrument, but there's less friction in the sound and reflection than one would get from a stringed instrument. So that, to me, it's some kind of a wood.
All right, so we will play the little part with the horny part after this, but let's get back to the song. 'Cause I really want your help and not proving this person wrong, just putting the correct information out there.
Yes.
That's Jimmy Barnes, folks.
Did you see the ninja? Jimmy don't breathe on my mic. Paps right in the head. John is a fucking ninja with the microphone, bro. I will say John looks more badass than Jimmy.
Very true. Very true.
John
I like his goat there.
This Duster, yeah, it's
Getting that close to Jimmy when Jimmy's in that state is dangerous. He'll put you in the headlock.
ask Ian and Wild Thing, yes.
So John might be running that mic from the fence.
Yeah.
James Barnes, folks. I gotta tell you, I got a bigger kick out of that than you did.
What the hell? I gotta tell you, I tried to react to that song. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't like it. I couldn't make it through it. I don't know. The Burn for You, John Farnham song, I can't do it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just, maybe I didn't give it to, maybe I didn't let it play long enough. That is possible.
And that's been requested a few times.
Well, I also seen some other reactors do it. And then Aussies themselves was like, why would you send this song first to someone you're trying to turn on to John Farnham?
Yeah.
In other words, even the Australian, even the fucking blokes on that video was like, dude, this is not the best song, man. Don't send something else, you know. I don't know if that is a former Little River band song or if, I don't know, but I thought it was a remake of the Blue Oyster Cult song, Burning for You.
Yeah, that's it.
But man, that just warmed my friggin' heart, man. I'm sorry, keep adjusting the camera.
Yeah. I was gonna say Jimmy definitely has one of those voices where if you want a guy to come in mid-song and steal the show, Jimmy's pretty reliable for that. Definitely not reliable to show up on time in the middle of the song. And you can tell he went off stage like, man, I haven't had a drink in minutes. I gotta get me some. But I think what they were to go back to what you were saying about him like using his false folds. The idea is the pitch in your voice comes from the vocal folds, but you shouldn't be using your true vocal folds to create distortion. So that like the rasp and distortion, he's using his vocal folds. But man, like Jimmy's got a way of making that sound like really like it sounds like it would be painful to do. Um,
Well,
so
that is what the coach was essentially talking about. How Jimmy is not hurting his voice by the way he
yeah,
does that. So I think it got lost in translation about the vocal cords not being
yeah,
there. I think it was more the explanation the vocal coach or the throat doctor was giving. Presumably, after the last uh, doctor's okay for Jimmy to go back on tour, which
yeah,
Dave, you had tickets to that. Our buddy Ditchbirder has tickets for Marillion. Had
yeah.
listening tool earlier this year, so yeah, all the pieces are fitting.
Mhm.
And
But yeah, Jimmy's vocal there, it's 90% distortion and 10% pitch. I mean, he's just going at it with wild abandon. Even like when Jimmy first starts singing, they cut to John, and even John is like, "Damn!" and it's probably like a bit of that, and like I ain't going that far.
well,
Preserving my voice, thank you.
the craziness on stage, antics, and the no show part of Jimmy Barnes's, which I don't think he's done that many times, but that is a staple in the old country music. No show Jones and Hank Williams
Yeah.
didn't show up for half of his shows, but they still packed the house when they did show up.
Mhm.
So
It's worth
um,
the risk. Yeah, John is order, Jimmy is chaos. If you want to look at it that way.
yeah, if you want to put it in terms of the country singers, John is Alabama and Jimmy is Hank Jr.
That's a great analogy actually. It's a great
It is.
parallel.
And if you love Aussie pub rock, just Google any song you want by the band Alabama.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
you're going to see so many similarities in Cold Chisel and Alabama.
Hmm.
I could speak on this because I've heard a lot of Cold Chisel now. And Randy is the name of the singer, Owens, and Jimmy, and they're a lot alike. They're hardworking, 40-hour week. You know,
I would have
uh,
loved to have seen Jimmy Barnes show up on an Alabama song.
it's kind of like screw the system here, but Alabama never says that. Hank was once saying that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Like John would never say um, that his manager sucked and the Little River Band was treating him like shit and jealous. But Jimmy would. In fact, I think Jimmy has said that for John
Yes.
in a roundabout way. So, uh, and John, from what I understand, was one of the first calls that Jimmy received when he got the okay to go back out, and John gave his blessing. So, John Farnham, you're amazing. You're a great man
Yeah.
with two wonderful women. I can never remember John's wife's name because she didn't speak a lot. Um, Glenn Wheatley's wife is the one that spoke most of the time for John's wife. But if my husband had a pair of panties from every woman in Oz, I may not speak a lot on camera either, but I could be okay with it as long as I didn't have to see it. Being very
Jillian.
innocent.
Jillian is
Jillian.
John's wife's
Jillian
name.
and John.
Yeah. They
Okay.
were married a year before I was born, so they've been together for a while. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so thank you all. This is like the old time reactions. I like that old timey Aussie pub rock and roll.
Well, we got the new visuals, but the old time, the
Yeah,
old run time.
right at 30 minutes. Well, it ain't 48 minutes with a bunch of I used to edit out It was like a fucking Gregorian chant. What's up, Oz? Tell us which one of the songs we should recreate next in a new light under a new fucking whatever. Yeah, lost my wording there.
What
Um,
old reaction would you like to see recreated with the new custom creator? Custom recreator now, if you will.
that was my mind's GPS going rerouting. Mental health is real. Physical. So, Mental health is physical and mental.
It is.
Wow, that's really
Mhm.
I don't know if it's called the cookie or, but that really seemed profound. Like most health isn't necessarily mental, and mental health isn't necessarily. Most mental problems aren't necessarily physical, but mental health is what. Maybe that was obvious. I don't know. Anyway, much love from North Carolina and Indiana, and Metallica, and pick which one you want. The man, the myth, the legend.
And music is your best support group. And John will pick you up, and Jimmy will give you the fire to keep plugging away.
John will inspire you to stay sober, and Jimmy will talk you into getting drunk with their words. Older Jimmy, anyway. Much love.